Hey guys, FatBuddyCat here. How you doing? Well, it's a hot one, but today we're going to see if we can't tweak the valves on Microbikology. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to have to do to even get to these valves while it's on this little frame is to remove my exhaust. Alright, so I'll go ahead and do that. I already have the spark plug out, and I will be pulling off my valve cover. Alright guys, this is super easy, alright? Nothing to be afraid of. To get my exhaust off, there's just a couple 1/2-inch nuts, alright? And to get the valve cover off, it's just some 8mm, alright? Some little bolts, a little socket, okay? That's all we needed. And because we didn't torque this down too much last time we were in here, looks like we'll be able to save our quart gasket. Pretty cool. Now, we're going to be trying to access the valve springs, okay? And this is a tight spot. So, to make this easier on the old sausage fingers, I'm going to be using a 14mm and a 10mm. Okay, and I'm going to loosen this nut, then I'm going to take off the keeper, and then I'll pull off my rocker. Alright, now get those right out of the way. And just put them to the side. I mean, you can put your exhaust one to one side and your intake to the other. It's always good to practice neatness when you're doing these things. Okay, just in case you didn't know what I was talking about, I'm going to put my 14 in, okay, and I'm going to be holding that nut. This one on the outside, guys, that's a jam nut, alright? So as you hold your 14, you're going to loosen your 10 off, okay? So you take that one off, alright, get your wrench out of there. This keep should be loose now. Well, looks like we can use a little bit of torque thunder. Okay, nothing big, I'm just giving it a little twisty twist. Make sure that the stem's not coming out. You know, the stud. Now the reason this one doesn't just spin right off like the other one did, guys, it's because of where I am, alright, in rotation, right, with the motor. So I'm going to try to hold the camera here with one hand. I'll reach over here, okay, and all I did was pulled my recoil starter a little bit, alright, and that changes where the valve is, okay, and what that did was lowered the push rod down, took the pressure off of my keep and off of my rocker, and now I can just take it right off. A lot of threads there. Boom, just like that. Alright guys, this next part is not as weird as it really seems. This is an acceptable method. What we're going to be doing is taking something like a small flathead screwdriver, okay, and we're going to feel down in here, alright? And I'm going to pull my recoil, and I'm going to feel in here, and I want my piston to be down inside my cylinder, okay? And once it's down in there, I'm going to take this rope, and I'm going to start shoving it in my spark plug hole, alright? As much of it as I can. When it gets difficult, we'll use that screwdriver and push it down in there. Alright guys, I just went ahead and unclipped this little heat shield here. There's a bolt right down here. You can take it off if it's in your way. But where our piston was at the bottom of the cylinder, I was able to fill the cylinder with rope, okay, until it's kind of difficult to push any more in with my little screwdriver. Alright, then the next thing we do, we reach over here, alright, and we just give our pull starter a little tug, okay? And what that's doing, guys, is it's pushing the piston up. And as the piston climbs the cylinder, it's pinching that rope in against your head, okay? Which in turn is holding your actual valves in place. So now when we go after our retainers and we push down, the springs move, but the valves don't. That way we can get them off easy. Alright guys, and here's what we're after. This is the stock spring out of the Predator 79cc. Okay? On my right, we have the 22-pound valve springs from AGK Racing. Okay? Now these are for the Predator 79cc as well. These in the middle, these are Predator springs, and these are the springs out of my Tillotson 212R. Okay, the stock springs. So, rumor is, these are 10.8 pound springs, and these might be more around 12. Okay, so if I push down on them, okay, I'm really pushing that one down. That one I get pretty close. That one's definitely a little bit easier than that one. And these, not going to happen. Alright? So, I know that's not scientifical, but what I'm showing you is these have a little bit more pressure than these do, okay? In comparison to the 22, which fits this motor, they're a little bit shorter, but so are the stock springs. Okay, now if you look at the top of them, those two are the same. Those two are the same. Alright? These are the same. What's not the same is Hemi springs. Okay? So, these are basically clone springs. Now I think the ones out of the 212R might be the green stripe. Okay? And I think those are just a little bit stiffer. So, we're going to be putting those in. Alright guys, if you go up to the description, you're going to find a link to a Link's Garage. Okay? And that is where I got the idea for today's modification. Alright? Now that we're back over at the bike, our rope is still in there, so our valves aren't moving. Okay? We're going to put a spring over the valve. We're going to push down, and slide our retainer on. I might be able to get one on camera, guys. Maybe not. Let's find out. We're off to a good start. Alright guys, not an easy angle to get. Alright, in my hand I have one of my springs, one of my retainers. I'm going to walk around to the other side. Okay, sometimes you can push the retainer down onto the spring. I guess we'll go ahead and try the intake side first. Okay, I'm on. I'm going to get my sausage fingers in here. Okay, now you can see how these are shaped, alright? So, you got a circle up here and you got a smaller inlaid section down there. That's going to lock onto your valve, onto the stem, okay? So we push it on all the way and then let it snap up. That's it. I think we can get the other one on too. Watch this. The exhaust side is a little bit trickier. On these Predators, there is no, well, I can't say no. They have sort of a cap over the exhaust valve. all right, that holds the spring in place instead of having a pocket for it to set into. All right, so same thing, we offset it, we push it, and we're on there. Wicked easy, guys. Okay, now that our springs are on, we can pull our rope out. All right, and you can see how much really went in there, okay? From about there to the end. There you go. The next step to this is going to be placing our rockers back on. Okay? So, what you want to do is go through first, alright, and make sure both of your rods are sitting inside your lifters, inside the little piece. I'll just show you. Okay. There's your rod. There's your lifter. Or your tappet. Whichever one you want to call it. Okay? Now this is inside your motor. Your cam hits that. This moves up and down inside a sleeve. Okay? That end of it is down inside of these holes. Okay? Way down in that dark empty cavern down there. Okay? It's not really empty because I just told you this was down there. Alright, you're going to take your rod. Alright, doesn't matter which end. They're just cut to length with two round ends. And you're going to feed it down in that hole. And you got to make sure that it's sitting right on top of your tappet. Alright? Reason being, because like I said, the cam makes this move, right? As this goes up and down, that moves your rod, which in turn moves your rocker, okay? Which then moves your valve. Okay, now we're just going to be putting our rockers on. I'm going to do this one-handed. Okay? See how I made sure the ball is on that end? Okay? And the end up here is going to go against the face of the top of your valve stem. Then I'm just going to take my retainer. Alright, I'm just going to put it on there sort of loose, but we know we have to get the jam nut on, right? Because it was on there before. So we'll just leave it right about there. Okay? The whole time making sure our rod doesn't fall. I'm going to do the same thing to the other one. Alright guys, now I'm going to show you how I find top dead center. Okay? This is the lever or the dowel that goes to my spark plug tool. I'm going to be lowering that down into my spark plug hole. Okay, now right now I'm already there. What you do is you put it in, alright? And you're going to watch your valves. Okay? And what I'm waiting for is that exhaust valve, alright, on its second time down. Alright, so there's our intake. The exhaust is going to go in a minute. Alright, see the exhaust? The valve is opening, okay? Now the valve is closing. It's coming back up. The piston's coming to the top of the cylinder. Okay? It feels like it's there, alright? Now I'm just going to pull it ever so slightly. And there it is. Did you see it go up just a little bit? Both of my valves should be loose no matter what. Alright? Because they're both closed now. If you want a better description of that, for a better visual, go over to MiniBike Madness. There's a link in the description. He does a really good job showing how to do that. Alright guys, this was a bit of a sweaty effort, but I got it on. Okay, so there we are there on our exhaust. Okay, and there's our intake side. Okay, so now that our valves are lashed, I'm going to go ahead and put the valve cover back on. Alright, and the last thing we're going to do is put our spark plug back in. Alright, and now we're going to put our spark plug back in. This is just the stock one right now, guys. I'll tighten that up. Then I'm going to put my exhaust back on. Alright. Now, we'll see if it starts. Okay, now we strap a GoPro on and take it outside. Cool. Alright guys, let's warm this thing up and take it for a ride. For whatever reason it seems to start nicer. I'm guessing that's that valve adjustment. I had these things at like 0.035 because I wasn't sure on the setting, so they were floppy anyway. Maybe we'll pick something up from these springs, hopefully some RPMs quicker. Well, you see what happened there, guys? Ripped my shoelace right off. Oh, okay. Let's take a look. The kickstand got jammed up. Oh man. Oh, see, it doesn't matter how small they are, guys. You're gonna go down, you're gonna go down. I'll live. Dirt. Removal today. Way to go, Scott. Well, okay now. That's a win, guys. So what do I think's going on here? Well, like I mentioned before, when I initially removed the governor and I put the 22-pound valve springs in, the motor took longer to spool up. All right, it took longer to create an RPM that gave up a usable amount of horsepower or torque. All right, so when I went back to the stock springs, we were able to build our RPM quicker, okay, and we definitely had more low end and mid range. that was good. But when we got to 24 and eventually broke that and got to 25 miles an hour, you could definitely hear it in the engine. Okay, I mean, it was way up there in the RPM range. Right on, I'd say right on the edge of valve float, or basically there. So that's not a good thing to do all the time. This is letting it ride out, and we're definitely getting more top end. Okay, reason being because we're staying in that usable torque power range longer. Okay, because we're not floating the valves, so we're able to ride out longer. All right, and eventually we would be quicker. Now I think it would go even faster. So hitting 26, we were not at the RPM that we were at when we hit 24. So I hope that makes sense. There is an improvement, okay? But we can improve this even more. Another adjustment I had made was to the throttle. Okay, this had stretched out or loosened up. It wasn't in here because when I tightened this up, instead of making the adjustment here, then the idle went too high. So it kind of tells me that the cable stretched a little bit down in here, or it pulled through a little bit. Not a big deal. We still hit full throttle for our top speed run, but I did notice it, and I did make an adjustment there. Another thing I might do is take a little bit of tension out of our primary chain. I mean, that's not terrible, guys, really. This thing rolls pretty easy. Okay, it's a little tight right now. Okay, and I'm guessing we probably vibrated something loose, or you know, when we did that barrel roll, that extra special move there, we could have knocked things out of alignment a little bit. So that could be affecting the bike by adding drag. Where we're riding this and how we're riding it, who knows. I think we need compression, guys. Oh boy. But not to downplay our achievements, we're going to start something new here with Microbikology. It's going to be a rewards program. All right, and this little bike, he's earned some. The first one is going to be for 25 miles an hour. All right, that was our first top speed break. Our first top speed was 24. All right, so for that, we're going to get one sticker from L&R Rides. All about perseverance. Okay? Coming out on top. The next one, guys, this is kind of like an unlocked achievement. And this is the We Don't Baby 'Em award. We're going to throw a Tampa Boys custom sticker on there. He also requested that we get rid of the orange gas tank. Good call, buddy. I'll get those on there. I think we got something else. See that? L&R. Nice and easy, right on time. Ride them like you stole them. Tampa? Man, I gotta pull out the screwdriver. I gotta loosen this thing. I gotta make that space over there. This boy, even when he ain't on the racetrack, he make you work for it. Alright, well, I pulled it straight out of the hose. Now the gas is on the floor. My finger's plugging the outlet. There's the vent just spewing gas everywhere, and it was totally worth it. Okay guys, and for the crowning achievement of 26 miles an hour, we award the Microbikology one brand new Outlaw crossbar pad. I'm going to do one better. I'm going to show you guys how to install that real quick. Alright, now take that outside sleeve off. Okay, don't get rid of that. That's where all the glory's at. You get your piece of foam in the middle, alright? Sometimes the laceration that they put on it doesn't make it all the way through. Not a big deal. You just stick your finger in it, run the crease, separate a little bit if you got to. Alright? Now I can guarantee you this thing is going to be long. I think I've done this before. Okay? So, pull out our cutting implement. Figure it's probably about fat half. Okay. Clean up your edges a little bit. Alright. Not too much. We'll be chasing it all night. Okay. Now we're going to put our piece of foam on. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a firm fit right there. Okay. For the crowning jewel, we're going to put this on. Yeah, this way. With the stitches in the front. And then I reach back there. That actually makes a difference, because when you put it on and you pull it under that way, it pulls against itself and it sticks better. Alright? Now this one, turn that to the front. Yeah, here we go. Beautiful. Well guys, it's been a long day. A lot of fun. Clean up my mess. And I think that's going to be it for tonight. Thanks for watching. You know what it is. It's always a work in progress, guys. Have a good night. I'll see you soon.